Argonians are one of my favorite playable races in Skyrim. They have an incredibly alien culture and have a whole host of natural abilities such as breathing underwater, being able to balance better due to their tails, and also having immunities to diseases that would kill other explorers who visit their swampy homeland of Blackmarsh. If you know how to build a character as cool as our Bone Scales build, you'll know that they can also have some of the coolest aesthetics in all of Tamriel. Similarly to Khajiit, Argonians have a substantial cult following behind them, and a lot of this is due to their unique lore, most of which is actually not known to the majority of Skyrim players. There are honestly hundreds of fun facts about this race, but to stop this video going on for hours, here are 5 very interesting facts about Argonians. Fact number 1. The appearance of Argonians varies drastically, with some looking far more human and others looking way more reptilian based on the hist sap they consume as hatchlings. This would actually be a decent rationalization for why Argonians in Skyrim look different to those in Oblivion. Argonians are actually born from eggs, and when a clutch of them is laid, they get placed in areas called hatching pools, which are located close to hist trees. These sentient trees are responsible for a huge majority of Argonian culture too, but the lore on that matter goes really deep and likely needs a whole video for itself. Point here being, there are Argonians that have grown up to look incredibly unique, some looking more like fish and others even looking more like birds. A good way of truly grasping all the shapes, colors and sizes that Argonians come in is by investigating the various Argonian tribes that exist. For example, you have a tribe known as the Patru, who are known to look toad-like, and there's also a tribe known as the Nagas, who stand 7 to 8 feet tall and have gigantic mouths filled with dripping needle-like fangs. There's even a tribe called the Sapa who have been described as winged, although it hasn't been made clear whether or not they actually have wings and can fly, but what else would winged mean? There are tons of other tribes that you can research yourself to understand the differing Argonian aesthetics, with some even having skin so pale it's basically translucent. Fact number 2. If they didn't already look so different from the other races, Argonians also have some seriously weird customs and cultural practices that make them even more extraterrestrial. For example, Argonians have been known to fill their pillows with live centipedes and other insects because they actually enjoy the feeling of the creatures wriggling against their scales. Furthermore, Argonians hardly express their emotions facially. Just like we humans can, most other races can tell how another is feeling just by looking in their eyes, observing their mouths, or seeing the way they animate their facial posture. With Argonians, however, you won't know they're angry until they bare their teeth and narrow their eyes. This makes it more difficult for other races to bond with Argonians, which likely contributes to the frequent distaste seen towards them in other provinces. It's hard to build trust and feel connected with someone who doesn't convey their emotions to you in a way that you can understand. Besides this quirk, Argonians also do weird things like let birds pick food out of their teeth after eating. It's also not rare for Argonians to put their lives on the line to save one of their friends. However, while they have close bonds with those they actually care about, they are highly distrustful of those they haven't met yet, mainly due to the fact that they have a long history of being captured as slaves and being treated poorly. Fact number 3. While Argonians were largely portrayed as a bullied, almost innocent race in Skyrim, they're actually quite nationalistic and even aggressive towards other races themselves. They have a very strong rivalry with the Khajiit, and it is believed to have been started by the Khajiits thinking that an Argonian shaman caused the Nahartan flu, which was very severe for the catfolk. It did start in Blackmarsh, and Argonians were immune, but it's hard to know if it was actually just due to natural causes. Argonia is a toxic place after all. Argonians also despise the Dark Elves. The Dunmer have a long history of capturing Argonians and forcing them to be slaves. This led to the Argonians capitalizing on the weakened state of Morrowind in the year following the eruption of Red Mountain. They were able to capture a large portion of the southern half of the province and sacked Mournhold. They were held off from going any further by House Redoran, but killed thousands of Dark Elves and destabilized their province even more. They currently have no proper allies and keep to themselves, often not liking random members of any other race unless they personally know them. This doesn't mean that Argonians are inherently hateful though, they just don't fit into the societies of men or elves, and their own society is too alien for all of the other races. Therefore, common ground can't often be found, and mistreatment happens as a result. Argonians are proud of their race, and even though they can squabble with each other, they have an unusual forgetfulness about it, because they believe that hating other Argonians is hating themselves. They are all kin of the Hist, so they don't hold a grudge against their own kind, only against others. Fact number 4. Argonians born under the sign of the Shadow are offered to the Dark Brotherhood at birth and trained to be assassins. These Argonians are known as Shadow Scales and will live their entire lives mastering stealth, combat, secrecy, and assassination. By the time they come of age, that is, if they actually survive, they are highly elite killers. However, as one may not expect, they're actually not forced to stay with the Dark Brotherhood at all. They can finally become a true member of the family, or they can return to Blackmarsh to serve their race. Many of the Shadow Scales that do return become personal assassins and spies of the King of Blackmarsh, and have been used as a way to prevent conflicts without widespread blood spilling, if you get what I mean. Obviously without the public finding out about what really happened. Alternatively, if Shadow Scales choose to return to Argonia and don't become one of the King's assassins, they can simply act as a kind of law enforcement, bringing death upon all those who pose a threat to Argonian society. This assassin's order worships Sithis, and even outside of the Dark Brotherhood they have their own code. Shadow Scales can't kill each other, even if one of them has deserted their duties. Breaking their code is punishable by death. In this case, an executioner who is not part of their order is sent by the Argonian royal court to do the job. Sadly for us lore nerds, we're told by a Shadow Scale in Skyrim that his order is no longer a functioning group. Fact number 5, Argonians actually have their own native language called Gel, and it's incredibly unique and borderline impossible for other races to learn. However, it is known that there was once a Breton girl who was able to learn enough Gel words to form a pidgin language and then communicate with an Argonian using it. Gel is said to be the closest speech to thought, and it actually originates from the histories themselves. What's even weirder about this language is that it doesn't contain any past or present tense verbs, due to the fact that traditionally Argonians perceive their lifetime as one long singular moment. This can make it really difficult for native Argonians to learn Tamrielic languages, so the struggle goes both ways. Besides having no variants of verbs that are time specific, Gel sounds very strange too. In the book titled The Madness of Pelagius, Gel was mocked, with Pelagius insisting on communicating in grunts and squeaks to an Argonian ambassador. Subscribe to Fudge Muppet for more sensational Skyrim content like this, and if you enjoyed the video, please do give it a like. We are really thankful that you watched the video, and we're very keen to have you along on the channel. Leave a comment with feedback if you please, and I look forward to nerding out with you again next time.